It's not a party without my man Matt. Hold on a second. All right.
I'm
All
here.
right. All right. Now it's a party. All right. It's your birthday. All right. Remember, that's copyright stuff, Kev. Be careful with that. YouTube will.
Hey, that was $1 Million Baby by Tommy Rickman, played off Apple Music.
I don't want somebody snitching on us and getting this.
We don't own the rights to that music, but I want $1 Million Baby. Let's go.
Yeah, we do not own the rights to that. So anybody who tattles, because there's a lot of people who like to tattle, we don't own that, so it's not ours. Okay. Now, let me turn the AI beat I got going down here. All right. Welcome. Episode 2. Season 2. Fade the Duce. We're going to knock this out in a little under 30 minutes tonight because we're going to do I got an Outside the Gridiron to run, Mike Farrell Sports after this, doing the just outright picks. But before that, let's do the overs, the unders, the spreads, all the fun stuff with Matt and Kevin Duce. So we got
a little wrinkle in this week too, Ryan. We're gonna add in Matt and I are adding in units.
Okay,
so,
right.
Yeah, how we're gonna weight these games, and we got a guest picker this week who's sending his picks. The one.
Oh, and he might even join, and we'll see if he announces his picks in the chat. You know, that's what I was thinking.
Right. There we go.
We're gonna do a guest picker every week. You know, forget what Seamus did. It's game day, baby. We got who we have.
Sign him up.
That's right. All right. So first game on the docket. We're gonna knock it out. We're gonna
real quick. Matt, I was 3-2 last week. What'd you do?
I was gonna say 2-3 here, 3-2, 2-3, 3-2. So we're sitting at 500.
Yeah, that's a lot better than 0-5 or whatever you were last year.
Yeah.
Start the year. I just remember.
Hey, Ryan, shout out. You don't make picks, but great call on Georgia Tech.
Yeah, thank you. Forget the take Georgia Tech. They're covering. They're gonna win, baby. Not so fast, my friend. All right, so let's get to it. Let's see if our guest picker's on. No, he's not, but he will be at some point. All right, first one, Eastern Illinois, in Chambana, Illinois. 27.5-point favorite. Obviously, that's still a lot of points, but not as much as I've seen all around college football. You know, I'm seeing 46 to 50, 49.5 for Akron and Ohio State. This is still, 27.5. That's still about 4 tutties, Matt. Like that's because anything could happen. It's 35-0, right? Or 34, and then all of a sudden Eastern gets a garbage touchdown, and they go for 2, and guess what? You didn't cover.
Can put that bet slip up in flames. That's what happens.
Yes. So now, for me, the interesting thing with this one is, I know a lot of teams, Matt. We're going to start with you, but is they could use this like an exhibition or kind of like a preseason NFL game, right? Like let's get up kind of big and then rest our guys for that big week 2 match. That's why. These numbers can be intriguing because you're getting to see teams, not wanting to maybe overdo it for their big matchup in week 2, but maybe also want to get maybe their starters in for 3 quarters and then get some reps for their backup. So how do you see this playing out in Champaign tomorrow night, which I'll be there? Do you see Fagan running for 250 and Altmaier slinging it around the yard, finding Franklin and Bryan a couple times, getting up maybe 38 or so, and then resting? What do you think happens in this one?
I would love to see Fagan get 250. Probably not going to happen right out of the gate. But this is a game that sets a tone for the season, I believe. I went back and forth on this. It's a lot of points. Illinois last year, of course, down 19-7 at home to Toledo, start out the year. And they were down to FAU 10-0. Had to come back in both of those games. Now both wins, but both didn't cover. EIU is a team that finished 8-3 last year, 4-2 in the OVC. They have a lot of returners coming back. They're experienced. Granted, not the caliber of athletes that Illinois should have, but I look at Illinois. The opponents have covered 8 straight when Illinois has been a favorite at home. And the road team has covered 9 out of the last 10 coming into Champaign. That does not bode well for 27.5. I think it's too many points. I had Illinois at first, then I switched my pick after a little bit of thinking. I think, as you mentioned, I think EIU scores late. I think they keep it kind of close, and at least maybe at the start. And Illinois pulls away at the middle and end. But 27.5, too much. I'm going EIU.
And what are you going on that, Matt? How many
I
units?
am taking – that's a 0.5 unit for me.
All right.
Okay?
Now, really quickly, Kev, before you take the floor, does that going to make you worry for Illinois' season that they can't cover that with Eastern, or maybe both? Maybe Eastern's not really that bad, and Illinois is just like maybe not putting the foot full down.
You asking me or you asking Matt?
No, I was asking Matt. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, didn't hear you. What were you saying?
Just quickly before Kevin picks, does that worry you though for Illinois if they don't cover that? Do you think that?
I wouldn't be worried, but I'd like to see a full game. Is what I'm saying. Again, as I said from the get-go, this is a tone setter for the season.
Okay.
So put your foot down, and if they don't cover, they don't cover. But I don't want to see it close.
Okay. All right, Kev.
Yeah, I'm with Matt on this one. I've said it on the show. I said it on Sunday night. I don't think Illinois covers the spread. I think Illinois wins. I think Illinois wins comfortably, but I think Illinois wins somewhere in the 17-24 margin. I don't think that – I think we get a healthy dose of Fagan, but I don't think Fagan's the leading rusher in this game. I don't think the leading rusher in this game wears orange and blue. I think MJ, give that boy his flowers, is the leading rusher in this game. I think Illinois' defensive line is not good. And I think it's going to – and that's what's going to concern me. Now, that being said, if Illinois wins this game and doesn't cover and it's like 45-21 and 2 of those touchdowns are in the fourth quarter, I won't have anything to worry about it. If MJ Flowers goes out there and rushes for 200 yards, yeah, I'm going to be real worried about it. So that being said, give me a half a unit. Give me give me Eastern plus the points here.
So really quick for maybe people who don't understand the half whatever half here, a full. How is that going to equate towards the end of the show? How we're going to use that after all the picks?
Well, it's one of the things that Matt and I we talked about, like spicing the show up a little bit, and so we take first of all
a unit.
We talked about so we talk about this over and over again on the show last year. Is like we take games we would not want to take on this, right? There, Matt and I don't know about Matt, but like there's literally 4 games leading up. The next 4 games, I'm not invested in this weekend. There's maybe one.
Yeah.
Matt and I are going to take we have a pool. We got 3.5 units. Let's call it $350 that we have a right to bet on those 5 games. And then we have to put $250 guaranteed on the final game, our lock. Yep. So we're going to put 2.5 units on there. And so then, and this is kind of more traditional with what real bettors will do. When Matt's in Vegas or I'm in Vegas or whenever, I'm not putting equal numbers on all these games. I like a game a little bit more, I'll bet it a little bit heavier. I like a game a little bit less, I'll bet it lighter. So it's going to be a more true way to come out. Like I hit it 54%, 56%, somewhere like that last year. I think Matt was at 48%. If we were doing units, Matt might have still beat me. And so it's a more accurate projection of what's going on. It's probably more we're going to keep this internally and just be able where we're at from a unit standpoint. But I think it'd be good for the folks who really want to tune in to what's going on from a betting standpoint to understand. And we're not doing that with the guest picks, right? We're going to measure our total wins and losses and the guest picker with just wins and losses, but Matt and I will measure the units.
Okay. And he's had a chance to mention on here, Barry, only bet what you can afford to lose. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. And that's very wise words from Barry. And since he's our guest picker this week, Kevin, please do the honors. What did Barry have?
Barry is on the Illini. Basically, just about tonight.
Unless Barry goes on a heater, don't call 1-800.
That's right. I hope you get on a heater, Barry.
I hope he does it, because if he's picking this week, it's against me. Barry's got the Illini plus given the points minus 27.5. He sees the Illini cover in there, so that's Barry there.
All right, and remember, people, if you have a gambling problem, unless you go on a heater, call 1-800-GAMBLER. I like
Barry knows.
All right, so
no waiting for them.
Game number 2 of this week. It's actually going to be played around the same time that Illinois is playing Eastern. It's just going to be in the FS1 window, the national primetime game, really for Thursday. And it's a good one. You got the old ball coach, Mac Brown, taking his Tar Heels to the land of a million lakes up in Minneapolis. I was going to say Kevin has waved the white flag, Matt, and I was going to say you might have taken the victory.
He forfeits.
Yeah. So, Kevin, we'll start out with you. 1.5 UNC on the road at Minnesota.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I mean, Minnesota's at home. They're in prime time. It's an odd night. It's everything that tells me that I should stick to my guns and bet the Gophers getting 1.5 here, but I can't do it.
Home dog in prime time? Come on.
I know. I can't do it. They're missing their top wide receiver and most likely their top running back. Caused the number to move. They're missing who is it? Taylor and Jackson are both going to miss this game.
That's right.
Right.
That's so wild too. You didn't hear nothing. We didn't hear anything about this, obviously, in the preseason, right?
Right.
I mean, it's for good reason.
Is it?
Go ahead, Kev.
It's for good reason. I have no idea the reason.
Why would we want to tip off North Carolina early? I wouldn't.
I have no idea why these guys are suspended. I just know that they're suspended. Now, that being said, the offensive defensive lines, if I'm going to give credit here, I'm giving it to Minnesota. But the fact is, I think I like Max Johnson more than Minnesota's quarterback. His name's eluding me now. He's been around.
Max Brosmer.
Yeah. Brosmer. Yeah. I think UNC finds a way to win this game by a field goal. That's it for me. I've got a half a unit on this one. I've got no real read, but I'm going to take UNC by a field goal.
And real quick, Matt, Jay Began, you live in Minneapolis. Get the scoop on why those guys are suspended for us.
Yeah.
I know you can dig and find the reason. All right, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, for you novice bettors out there, as Duce did mention, this line went from Minnesota -1 to all the way to -2.5 for Minnesota, and then flipped completely to UNC -1.5. So 4-point spread here within a matter of 2 days, I think, which is a telltale sign Vegas knows something that the public doesn't. And this is before anything was really announced. I think one of them maybe was announced, but the running back, Williams. Jackson, yeah. I don't think that was known. PJ Fleck has kept this very close to the vest here. I know the Big Ten comes out with their injury report 90 minutes prior to games now. So it'll be a big telltale sign, to see if both are playing. As Kev said, I don't think both are. Both will be suspended. I see that big line movement. I'm taking UNC because Vegas knows. I don't fight it. I think their quarterback play is better. No Drake May, but still, give me the Tar Heels -1.5.
All right. What does the wise, wonderful Barry say, Kev?
Well, hey, he's on UNC -1.5. It's the one thing that we're in agreement on there. So,
okay, Barry, don't let us down. What's it say? IGDT Bath. You know what that is, Kev?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So the next, Barry, we don't speak in tongue, whatever you're doing. So
he's mad because he really wanted to bet Illinois on the first half. So we'll even give him that. It's like he wants Illinois in the first half up to 17.5. I might even give him that. But hey,
that could be his lock. Let's make that his lock. Okay.
No, he likes Wisconsin. He likes Wisconsin.
Okay. Well, we'll get to that. Sorry, Barry.
It's a great day to be a Tar Heel.
No, is it 4.5 or 2.5 for LSU? I just want to, if I'm wrong.
4.5.
Okay, so I got it right, you guys. There we go. I'm on a roll. All right, USC. I didn't get it right. Okay, the University of Southern Cal. For everybody who doesn't know where that is, ask Deshaun Foster. It's next to UCLA. And this game's in Vegas, correct, Kev?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so this is going to be interesting. You got Lincoln Riley. After a kind of mediocre type season last year, you want to they need to get off to a good start again. You don't want that because then they got to go at Michigan, in the first month of the year. We already talked about that last week. So 4-point underdogs, obviously, to LSU. I'd say probably a little more talent there, but you never know what's going to happen with the new quarterback now because obviously you're losing a Heisman Trophy winner. So we'll start with you, Matt. There's a lot of unknowns here. New starting, very talented quarterback. Was it Moss?
Miller Moss
for USC. Very highly touted. Maybe the Heisman whisperer Lincoln Riley can get something out of him. So what do you see happening here on a neutral field? 4.5. Is that too much, Matt?
I think it's too much. I went back and forth on this. I think these next two games are just complete toss-ups because you just don't know what you're going to get. Miller Moss really showed out in the bowl game, was slinging it all around. I couldn't believe it. I had money on that game, and he won me some money. I was highly impressed, but again, it was a bowl game when not all the starters were playing, and it's a really hard read. But I mean, both of these teams are replacing 1-2 picks in the NFL draft here. A lot of changes. I agree with you. I think LSU's got some better talent, but they've lost 4 straight openers in the last 4 years. Something's
got to give to that, right?
Yeah, I think so. But at the same time, it comes down to head coach and preparation. I'm not saying they're going to lose, but I think in games like this, when there's new quarterbacks on both sides, relatively new, not starters, it's going to come down to who makes the least amount of mistakes. I think that's going to end up under 4 points one way or the other. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Trojans of Southern California plus 4.5.
Fight on.
That's right.
All right.
Welcome to the Big Ten.
Yeah. Big stage, big life.
And I would say Lincoln Riley's got a lot of pressure on this year. He knows he's got to perform and win. So I think, he'll be ready.
Really quick, Tony, more than 20,000 people will be in Champaign tomorrow night, easily. I'm going to say twice that.
Might push 50. Push 50.
It's going to be a nice one. I think fans are excited for the year. Anyway.
Oh, by the way, that was 1 unit for me.
1 unit. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Kev. Are you going against the grain here? Are we shaving against the grain or what? Are we going with the flow? What are we doing?
No, dude, I'm in agreement with what Matt said completely here. I think you look at, and by the way, this is the puke bowl for me. I hate both these two teams with a freaking passion, and I hate them for the same reason. I hate them for the Sugar Bowl, and I hate them for the Rose Bowl. I had to be in the Rose Bowl and deal with them jack wagons. I have friends over the Sugar Bowl and had to deal with them tag bait. I can't stand either one of these fan bases. I loathe these fan bases. I really like LSU's baseball fan base, but their football fans suck ass. They suck wet, sweaty ass. So both these two teams can get bent. The only teams I'd probably root for that I would ever root for either one of these teams when they played against another team is probably Missouri,
Iowa
and Missouri. Yeah. And I hate these. I can't stand these two teams. That being said, and I can't stand Lincoln Riley. LSU's defense and USC's defense, both of them hot garbage last year. LSU's secondary is bad. LSU's offensive line might be the best unit in this game. USC's got a whole bunch of sophomore wide receivers that are really freaking talented, and they got Miller Moss. 4.5 points too much for me. I don't know if they could stop them. I really love the over in this game. That was a lock I was going to go with, but I'm going to take a lock that's a little bit closer to home. I'm taking 1 unit USC plus 4.5. I probably, if I was inclined to bet on this game, I would probably take USC on the money line for a little bit of juice.
Yeah, I like it.
All right. What does the wonderful wise Barry have on this one?
It's funny. I just texted a friend who I thought was Barry, and he's like, "Nope, not me. I don't know what you're talking about." He likes the Bayou Bengals minus the 4.5.
Okay. All right. And I gotta be honest. Speaking for your friend, nothing worse than being called Barry, probably. Even though Barry has does have some good info. I can't deny that. So the next one on the docket, Notre Dame.
Oh, Barry.
Notre Dame at A&M, 2.5 point favorite, right? A&M at home.
A&M's yep, 2 and a hook there.
Okay, A&M 2.5 at home. We'll start with you, Kev.
Where's this game being played?
I think it's in
Aggie Land.
College Station.
When's it getting played?
Prime time.
Yeah, they're not a dog, but I still like them. Give
Okay.
me A&M. Just at home, start the season. It's a really talented team. Mike Elko, right?
Yep.
Mike Elko. I'm a big fan of Mike Elko. I think
Me too.
I think Texas A&M has been like Jimbo's been
Barry, that's not your real name, dude. Take a joke. Anyway.
He's been recruiting like a madman down there, and I think you get a real coach like Elko. I'm not saying Jimbo's not a real coach, but I mean, I think Jimbo's kind of rested on his laurels for a little bit. I think they got a ton of talent there. I'm not really believing the hype with Notre Dame right now.
Hasn't A&M lost a couple guys to injury though, Matt? I thought they've had a couple of key starters get hurt already.
I don't. That's a good question. I didn't see that when I was doing some research, but maybe it could have slipped past me.
I think the line would have been more if they had been completely healthy. I think it was either one of their top linemen that was looking to be getting drafted, something like that. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
College Station is a really tough place to play. The 12th man is a very real thing. And you throw in the fact that they got a renewed interest in football with Elko. They're one of the most delusional fan bases on the planet. But that being said, I like them at home. I like them to win by a field goal or more.
Okay.
Yeah. How many units, Kev?
I'm going with a half a unit on that one. Oh, and by the way, Elko gets to go play against his former quarterback Riley Leonard, which is pretty interesting.
Yes.
So you think that he's going to know how to play Mr. Leonard? You know that. That's going to be
well, Leonard's going to know some things about what Elko's guys. Elko's an offensive guy. I mean, but it'll be interesting. Yeah.
All right, Matt, you're up.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing. Pretty interesting that your quarterback at Duke doesn't follow you to A&M. Now, that could be a lot of different reasons there. Maybe just wanted a fresh start. Maybe told them, hey, I already got my quarterback at A&M, whatever it may be. But, that'll be some interesting gamemanship there in College Station. I coached at A&M for a year. I know what that stadium is like when it's full. I expect over 100,000, especially. I mean, they've ramped it up even more since they've gotten to the SEC. Very tough place to play. Notre Dame just doesn't strike me as a big game team. Maybe that's a little bit of recency bias, but tough environment. I know it's only game one, but this is a big game for both teams. I think it's going to be a rock fight. Both very good defenses. Notre Dame's really good in the secondary. They've got some pros back there. I think A&M is very good up front in the defensive line. But I'm going to go with the 12th man here. I just like the home field advantage. I like the energy that Mike Elko is going to bring. And then also you got Colin Klein, who I was with when I was at Kansas State as the new offensive coordinator at Texas A&M. He is a very, very good young up-and-coming coach, knows what he's doing. I think you see a different offense for A&M this year. I'm going to go, give me the Aggies, -2.5 at home. 1 unit.
All these people, you always got all these, shout outs and,
got to.
Celebrities. Why don't we get some guest picker on? Why don't you use some guest pickers?
Okay, I can get some guest pickers going.
I think that'd be fun, man. I think a guy like Klein, come on, man. I mean, I remember him. He was tough, dude.
He was second in the Heisman, I want to say.
Yeah, I loved everything about his game. Like he's like that gritty dude who'd put his neck out to get the extra half yard they needed. Like
it would, trust me, in Manhattan, Kansas, it was a very big deal for him to leave Kansas State. I mean, he's seen there as one of the best ever, and he did really well for Kansas State. But A&M got him. Money talks.
Yep. All right. Barry needs to know who you texted, Kev, and then what's his pick?
He is on Notre Dame. He likes Notre Dame to win. Matter of fact, Barry sounds like he might go to the window with a little half a unit on the money line there. So, and Matt, we're both on it. We're both half a unit on this one, right?
I did 1 unit.
Oh, you're full unit on A&M, right on.
Yeah.
All right, and then the last pick of our regular 5, we've got Dabo Swinney in an interesting year for him, coming off of very unusual season for Clemson. And I think he could be a hot seat guy if they don't have a better year this year, which is funny as that is. That's just when you make yourself into like a cult folk hero, and then all of a sudden you come back down to earth for a year where you have a good year, not a great year. He already had tons of Clemson people calling for his head, and then another maybe year like that, and who knows. But it's going to be hard when you're starting your year out with Georgia, and that they're going to come fired this year because they didn't even make the college football playoff last year.
Right.
And so they're going to be at 13.5, right, guys?
That's right.
Yeah. And this game is played where at, Kev?
It's in Atlanta. It's in Mercedes-Benz.
Okay. Yeah. It's in the Dome in the ATL, which is going to be really more like a home game for Georgia, but I know Clemson's not too far away. So 13.5. We'll start with you again, Matt. What do you say here? You think Clemson has enough talent to keep it? I think they have enough talent to keep it under 2 touchdowns, but does that mean they will?
Yeah, I think they do, but end of the day, I'm not betting against a Georgia team the first time they haven't won an SEC title or gotten to the college football playoff and a national championship. I mean, this is a team with high expectations. They're trying to win 3 national championships in the last 4 years. They're pissed off from last year. They're at home basically in Atlanta. I think they are ready with their athletes from the jump. Now, had a very rocky offseason, a lot of, police activity, if you may say. Woo. Lot going on there.
Couple beers.
Yeah, but hey, when you're winning, people don't care as much. So, that's kind of how it goes. I don't know with Trevor Etienne if he's going to be able to play in this game. He stemming from a DUI arrest earlier this summer, so who knows there. But I trust Carson Beck a lot more than I trust Klubnik from Clemson. He 9 INTs last year, 5 lost fumbles. 14 takeaways just from him alone. I think he makes some mistakes. I think Georgia is ready from the jump. No transfer additions from Clemson. Dabo refuses. I don't know what he's doing in this day.
Tom Izzo's school of
That's right. Sometimes you're so hard-headed, it hurts you in the end. But half a unit, give me the Bulldogs in Atlanta minus 13.5.
I'm with Matt on everything he said. I get the better coach right now. All right, Dabo is a surefire Hall of Fame coach with 2 national championships. Deserves all his flowers for what he did there. I get the better coach right now. I get the better quarterback. I get the better home field advantage. This game played, and I really worry about Clemson in their complete lack of attention to the transfer portal, because while they're not bringing anybody in, they're certainly losing players. They might not be losing key contributors. They're certainly losing players there. I think if this game was played October 15th, this spread might be 21. And I would be all over Georgia on October, whatever. The only reason it's keeping me away from this is there's a lot of unknowns with Georgia. Georgia lost almost all their offensive firepower. I mean, it was really McConkey and Bowers were really there. And then you got a question about whether or not Etienne's going to play. There's a little bit of turmoil there. But Lord knows they just restocked the shelves there. So give me the Bulldogs minus 30. They seem to mop teams in this environment too when they've been an opportunity. So they take advantage of it. Give me Kirby Smart and the Dogs minus 13.5 with a half a unit.
And Mr. Barry on this one?
I believe he faded me like he did with most of his picks this week. I just want to double check. Yeah, he's like 13. He's like plus 13.5. He really likes the under 48.5. Believing in the defenses there, but he's going to run with Clemson plus 13.5.
Okay. Let's see here as we move. Well, one of us is going to have a great week. Yes. Yes. All right. So we're going to Lock of the Week, everybody's favorite segment of this, and not because it's almost over, but because it is the lock. This means these guys know what the hell they're talking about, and you better go take it to FanDuel or DraftKings or wherever. Bet MGM right now. Okay, Matt, we'll start with you.
I'm going to go with the over in the UNLV Running Rebs versus the Houston Cougars. These are two teams that can score, two teams that are mediocre at best. Houston had a rough year last year. UNLV gave up a lot of points. Yes, I know, new season, a lot of new players, different coordinators, stuff like that. I still think both teams are going to be able to score. I always like when two teams are kind of evenly matched, kind of mediocre, that I'm going to go with an over here. So give me Dana Holgerson's kind of air raid at times, over 54.5. I'm putting my 2.5 units on it. Like Kev said, every lock will be 2.5 units for a total of 6 throughout the week. And that's what I'm going with.
By the way, Dana Holgerson needs to get a razor. Anyway, go ahead.
What is the number on that, Matt?
54.5. So I'm thinking, hey, a 30 to 27 is certainly doable here. And I could see both teams scoring in the 30s, to be honest.
Yeah. Hey, so initially one of the games I really liked from a number standpoint was USC LSU at 64.5. It's such a big number, and it's come down from 66.5. I do think that there's going to be some levels of initially early on with the new college headsets. I think it's going to help some defenses. Listen to Jay Lehman talk about this week. I think it'll drive scoring down. I think that when they no longer stopping the clock on first downs, even under 2 minutes, or just going to the 2-minute timeout, if you will, I think scoring might come down a little bit this year. So 66.5 became a little bit of a challenge. 64.5 became too much for me to look at. And then I went back. I'm like, wait a second. My team, the team I follow, the team I know better than any other team out there, the team I predicted to win 45 to 24. Was that my pick, Ryan? 55-24?
Yes. Yeah.
40 over under it. 44.5?
Yeah, something like that.
I'm picking my team to score more than the total. Dude, this isn't your 2022 Illini, Vegas. Yeah. Sorry. I'm worried Eastern might score 30 on us. Sorry, 44.5 is a cakewalk. Go to the bank, 2.5 units all day, every day, lock for weeks. It's happening.
Yeah.
I might hit it the first half.
I really like it. I like it.
I can't believe that that's real, but whatever.
Well, all right. So I listened to the Eyes on Big Ten podcast today. I listened to a little bit of it this morning on my drive into work. And really it is, if you're not really tightly close with what Illinois is doing, if you're really not locked in on what Illinois is doing, there's tons of doubts about this offense, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I think there's a lot of things like, well, John Paddock left and he threw for 1,000 yards in 3 weeks. And Casey Washington and Isaiah Williams are on NFL rosters.
Uh-huh.
And I just think there's just a lack of understanding of what's there. And that Illinois was like the third or fourth best offense in the Big Ten last year. Almost 400 yards a game.
I don't know how you forget what Luke Altmaier did before he was hurt.
He was well on his way to 2,500 yards for the season. Probably going to push close to 20 touchdown passes. You get your stable of running backs back. Lord knows Illinois is going to want to run for 300 yards. They're just going to hammer them. I think Illinois covers the number unto itself. It seems like an easy number to me.
So. Yep. All right. Final, Barry, you get the final word.
Yeah, he's taking Wisconsin minus 13.5 in the first half. I like Western Michigan to cover that game. I like Western Michigan to scare the folks in Madison.
Madison, they're going to be getting
21.5 is the total, 13.5 for the first half. I think Wisconsin, I'm not a believer in old Taylor Van Dyke or whatever his name is.
Tyler Van Dyke. Yeah.
I don't believe guys who go to Miami can transfer to Wisconsin and play.
Yeah, what a weird fit.
I don't get it, dude. Especially if we're going to be playing night games in Wisconsin in November. Like, come on, bro.
Weird fit.
All right, fellas. That's going to do it for the second episode of the second season of Fade the Deuce. We are literally less than 24 hours from Illinois kicking off, you guys. excitement. College football's back. Fade the Duce is back. And I'll be jumping on another pod in about 5 minutes. Mike Farrell, you guys going to check it out? Outside the Gridiron? All right. And if not, yeah, there we go. Appreciate it. So that'll do it for this week's episode. We'll be back for Keeping It Orange and Blue on Sunday to talk about the Eastern Illinois game and preview Kansas. Any final things you guys want to say before we get off here?
Just hope I'm not too loopy to watch the game tomorrow night. So
I'm excited. And thanks for Barry for joining us.
Heck yeah.
We had fun too. And we'll have a next guest picker next week.
Yeah. We're going to be, or maybe Matt will have a fun celebrity guest picker, huh?
We'll see what I can come up with.
Hey, get Chester Frazier or Bruce Weber or something like that. All right.
Okay.
No, Dimitri!
Davis! All right. Swap me out.